The National Electrical Code, specifically Article 705.12, addresses multiple services. The NEC does not explicitly mandate interconnections between multiple utility company service feeders when certain conditions are met. These conditions include the services operating at the same voltage rating. In your case, both services are rated at 13.2 kilovolts. Secondly, the services must terminate into separate switchgear. And thirdly, the switchboards are configured in a main-tie-main configuration. Given these conditions, the NEC does not require interconnections. The assumption that the NEC permits multiple service locations within a common complex is correct. While the NEC doesn't mandate interconnections, there are other crucial factors to evaluate. Firstly, local codes. Local authorities may impose additional requirements concerning interconnections between multiple services. It's essential to consult with local electrical inspectors and review local amendments to the NEC to ensure compliance. Secondly, reliability. Interconnections can enhance reliability by enabling a seamless transfer between services in the event of a fault. This redundancy ensures continuous power supply to critical loads. Thirdly, maintenance. Interconnections can simplify maintenance procedures by allowing one service to be taken offline while the other remains operational. This minimizes downtime and disruption. Fourthly, cost. Interconnections involve additional equipment and labor costs. A thorough cost-benefit analysis is crucial to determine if the benefits of interconnection outweigh the expenses. While not mandatory under the NEC for your specific scenario, installing interconnections between multiple services is generally recommended to improve reliability and simplify maintenance. This decision should be based on a comprehensive assessment of local codes, reliability needs, maintenance requirements, and budgetary constraints. To elaborate further, let's delve into each of these considerations in more detail. Regarding local codes, it is paramount to consult with the authority having jurisdiction, often referred to as the AHJ. The AHJ is responsible for enforcing the electrical code within a specific region. They may have specific rules or interpretations that differ from the national NEC. These local amendments can be based on unique regional factors such as weather conditions, population density, or the specific types of industries served. For example, a municipality might require interconnections for critical facilities like hospitals or data centers to ensure uninterrupted power during emergencies. To determine the local code requirements, contact the local electrical inspection department or building department. They can provide you with the relevant codes and any applicable amendments. It's also advisable to engage a licensed electrical engineer familiar with local regulations to ensure compliance. Concerning reliability, the decision to interconnect services hinges on the criticality of the loads being served. Critical loads are those that must remain operational under all circumstances. Examples include life safety systems, emergency lighting, fire pumps, and critical process equipment in industrial facilities. If a power outage could have severe consequences, such as endangering human life, causing significant financial losses, or disrupting essential services, then interconnections are highly recommended. Interconnections provide a redundant power source, ensuring that the critical loads continue to receive power even if one service feeder fails. There are several ways to implement interconnections to enhance reliability. One common approach is to use an automatic transfer switch, known as an ATS. The ATS automatically switches the load from the normal power source to the alternate power source in the event of a voltage drop or power failure. The ATS continuously monitors the voltage and frequency of both power sources. If the normal source falls outside acceptable parameters, the ATS initiates a transfer to the alternate source. The transfer can be either open transition, where there is a brief interruption of power during the switchover, or closed transition, where the two sources are briefly parallel before the switchover. Closed transition transfers are preferred for sensitive electronic equipment that cannot tolerate even a momentary power interruption. Another approach to interconnection is to use a paralleling switchgear. This allows both service feeders to operate in parallel, sharing the load. Paralleling switchgear requires sophisticated control systems to synchronize the two power sources and ensure stable operation. However, it offers the highest level of reliability, as the load is continuously supplied by both feeders. Regarding maintenance, interconnections can significantly simplify maintenance procedures. Without interconnections, taking one service feeder offline for maintenance requires shutting down all the loads served by that feeder. This can be disruptive and costly, especially if the loads are critical. With interconnections, one service feeder can be taken offline for maintenance while the other feeder continues to supply power to the loads. This allows maintenance to be performed without interrupting operations. For example, if a transformer on one service feeder needs to be replaced, the load can be transferred to the other feeder via the tiebreaker in the main tie-main configuration. The transformer can then be safely de-energized and replaced without any power interruption. Interconnections also facilitate routine testing and maintenance of protective devices such as circuit breakers and relays. These devices can be tested and calibrated without shutting down the entire system. This ensures that the protective devices are functioning properly and will operate as intended in the event of a fault. In considering the cost, interconnections involve several cost factors, including the cost of the interconnection equipment such as tie breakers, protective relays, and control systems, the cost of engineering design and installation, and the cost of ongoing maintenance and testing. The cost of the interconnection equipment can vary depending on the size and complexity of the system. Tie breakers are typically the most expensive component, followed by protective relays and control systems. The engineering design and installation costs will depend on the specific site conditions and the complexity of the interconnection scheme. It's essential to engage a qualified electrical engineer and contractor to ensure that the interconnection is properly designed and installed. The ongoing maintenance and testing costs will include periodic inspection, testing, and calibration of the interconnection equipment. This is necessary to ensure that the equipment is functioning properly and will operate as intended in the event of a fault. Before deciding to install interconnections, it's essential to perform a thorough cost-benefit analysis. This analysis should consider the cost of the interconnection equipment, engineering design, installation, and ongoing maintenance and testing. It should also consider the potential benefits of interconnections such as increased reliability, reduced downtime, and simplified maintenance. If the benefits of interconnections outweigh the costs, then it is generally recommended to proceed with the installation. To summarize, while the NEC doesn't mandate interconnections in your specific scenario, the decision to interconnect multiple utility services requires careful consideration of local codes, reliability needs, maintenance requirements, and cost. Consulting with local authorities, engaging qualified electrical professionals, and performing a thorough cost-benefit analysis are crucial steps in making an informed decision. Remember to consult the latest edition of the NEC and any applicable local amendments for the most up-to-date requirements. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and local codes may be amended more frequently. Therefore, it is essential to stay informed of the latest changes. To further illustrate these concepts, let's consider a hypothetical example. Suppose a hospital has two 13.2 kilovolt service feeders, each terminating into separate switchgear configured in a main tie-main arrangement. The hospital has critical loads such as life support systems, emergency lighting, and operating rooms that must remain operational at all times. The local electrical code requires interconnections for hospitals to ensure uninterrupted power supply. In this case, the hospital would be required to install interconnections between the two service feeders to comply with the local code. The interconnections would likely include an automatic transfer switch to automatically switch the load from the normal power source to the alternate power source in the event of a power failure. The hospital would also need to perform regular testing and maintenance of the interconnection equipment to ensure that it is functioning properly. The cost of the interconnections would be justified by the need to ensure the reliability of the critical loads and comply with the local code. In contrast, suppose a small office building has two 13.2 kilovolt service feeders, each terminating into separate switchgear configured in a main tie-main arrangement. The office building does not have any critical loads that must remain operational at all times. The local electrical code does not require interconnections for office buildings. In this case, the office building may choose not to install interconnections between the two service feeders. The decision would be based on a cost-benefit analysis. The cost of the interconnections would need to be weighed against the potential benefits of increased reliability and simplified maintenance. If the benefits are not significant enough to justify the cost, then the office building may choose not to install interconnections. The specific requirements for interconnections between multiple services can vary depending on the type of facility, the criticality of the loads, and the local electrical code. Therefore, it is essential to carefully evaluate all of these factors before making a decision. Additionally, remember that even if interconnections are not required by the NEC or local codes, they may still be beneficial in terms of improving the overall reliability and resilience of the electrical system. Consider the potential for future expansion or changes in the facility's load requirements. Interconnections can provide added flexibility to accommodate future growth or changes in the way the facility operates. They can also make it easier to integrate renewable energy sources such as solar panels or wind turbines into the electrical system. In conclusion, the decision to interconnect multiple utility services is a complex one that requires careful consideration of all relevant factors. There is no one-size-fits-all answer, and the best approach will depend on the specific circumstances of each project. By following the guidance provided in this explanation and consulting with qualified electrical professionals, you can make an informed decision that will ensure the safety, reliability, and efficiency of your electrical system. Always prioritize safety and compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Electricity can be dangerous, and it is essential to take all necessary precautions to protect people and property. Ensure that all electrical work is performed by qualified and licensed electricians. Use appropriate personal protective equipment such as gloves, safety glasses, and insulated tools. Follow all safety procedures and best practices. Remember that electrical codes and standards are constantly evolving to reflect new technologies and best practices. Stay informed of the latest changes and updates to ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant. By staying informed and following best practices, you can help to create a safe and reliable electrical environment for yourself, your family, and your community. Finally, it's worth noting that the concept of microgrids is becoming increasingly popular. A microgrid is a localized electrical grid that can operate independently from the main power grid. Microgrids often include multiple sources of power, such as solar panels, wind turbines, and generators, as well as energy storage systems such as batteries. Interconnections are essential for microgrids to allow them to seamlessly switch between grid-connected and islanded modes of operation. When the microgrid is connected to the main grid, it can import or export power as needed. When the microgrid is islanded, it can operate independently using its own sources of power. Interconnections ensure that the microgrid can continue to supply power to critical loads even during grid outages. If you are considering installing a microgrid, it's essential to carefully consider the interconnection requirements. The interconnection requirements will vary depending on the size and complexity of the microgrid, as well as the local utilities interconnection standards. Engaging a qualified electrical engineer with experience in microgrid design and interconnection is crucial to ensure that the microgrid is safely and reliably integrated with the main power grid. The NEC provides specific guidance on the interconnection of microgrids in Article 705. This article covers topics such as grounding, overcurrent protection, and synchronization. It's essential to carefully review Article 705 and any applicable local amendments to ensure that your microgrid complies with all applicable codes and regulations. In addition to the NEC, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, known as the IEE, publishes standards that provide guidance on the interconnection of distributed resources, including microgrids. IEE Standard 1547 is a widely recognized standard that covers the technical requirements for interconnecting distributed resources to the grid. This standard addresses issues such as voltage regulation, frequency control, and protection coordination. By following IEE Standard 1547, you can ensure that your microgrid is safely and reliably interconnected with the main power grid. In conclusion, the interconnection of multiple utility services is a complex topic that requires careful consideration of a variety of factors. By understanding the NEC requirements, local codes, reliability needs, maintenance requirements, and cost considerations, you can make an informed decision that will ensure the safety, reliability, and efficiency of your electrical system. Remember to consult with qualified electrical professionals and stay informed of the latest changes and updates to codes and standards.